So that means you need the profile, the use script based on the requirements from the product owner, or you requirements. You set each of the versions, database migrations, versions with based on the requirements. Maybe in the next release, you need additional columns, additional tables, or additional constraint. You can just simply increase the version number and the version number into the use script files, into the migration script directory, and then all the script files. And then when they start the Spring Boot applications, and then it's automatically inject the values, create the tables, create the sequences and all the informations, and have the Flyway will take all the version control information about your use scripts. So, and then here in addition information, that's I already program it here. Just those are new into my channels. You see the how can you program, how can you configure the Swagger UI, just like very simple straightforward configuration for the Swagger UI. Open API 3 versions. It has all the meta information, injecting the bean and creating the bean, and so on and so forth. Those are because I had already the previous screencast and the other screencast without detailed discussion about the and then Swagger UI, and also the Open API for the REST API documentation and document generations. You can just follow the previous screencast that I had. Just for introduction how it is done, and because we need to be test with our REST API based on the Swagger UI. That's how I need to integrate the Swagger UI to doing some testing with my database migration tool, the Flyway, and then also the Liquibase, and then if everything is working and the migration is really properly working properly injected my tables, and then created all the constraints that need to be checked and before the final release in the production environments. That's a read that we need to be doing. And for the additional one, there was and the controller section that's define all the Liquibase sort of UI information like program it like this. So just follow the previous one and get a clear idea how can you integrate or how can you configure the Swagger UI or Open API with the users APIs, because this is really important for to understand in the other developer to understand the user API. So that means we defined all this migration script, and we defined our application.yml file that I need to discuss with you. The application.yml file, because these are just Swagger UI and the application descriptions, and then server port, and this is our the placeholders. If it's not fixed into the environmental variables, is not set, then it's due to directly take the data from the data side. So this is the application.yml file that I say this is the application I need to be deployed into the Docker container or the Docker Compose file. So you see the application.yml file, and you see already here all the environmental variable settings. So all very globally set the variables, application versions, and port numbers, and the host names, and then the database URL, and then and PostgreSQL database. Now, those are new into the configuration into change. Please follow the previous one and get a clear idea how it's professionally handled and how professional need to be done. So then this is our Docker Compose file. This is very straightforward Docker Compose file. So it is taking the Docker image, the Postgres Docker image from as like here you can define here like which version you are globally defined. So 9.6 alpha versions we define here the placeholder created, and the network is and DB networks, and then container name, DB usernames, and then so on and so forth. And this is the environmental settings for the username, the username and password. And this is the Spring Boot application itself. The container names and image is here, so version is defined here. So globally defined is version 1.2.3 because we are spending on Java 5-based deploying an application. So those are new into the Docker Compose. Please Google it, follow the previous screencast, and it works automatically. So that means we already discuss about standalone Jar-based deployment. It simply run the Jar application, it works automatically. That's I already showed you. But here is the different case, the Docker and Docker Compose based deployment. So we need to define the services, and the database services, and then you need to be defining your Spring Boot application services, and then its image automatically get your Docker Compose definition. You see the very straightforward Docker files, and so it has as a base Java 8 versions, OpenJDK, and it has the volumes, it has some copy, and then to copy you created jar file and put it this jar standalone jar file into the container app directory into app.jar directory, and after the endpoints run the application in Java and jar as a applications. You see the URL, and it automatically works. So what we need to do now, so we need to be to define the application YAML files, all the connectivity, all the properties that I need to show you, or need to be connect to my database, and need to be label my Swagger UI, and also the level by which environments we are, or which profiles or which active profiles we need to be run, and then all the define is here properly. And then after that, you need to be define the environmental settings. As I said, this is the professional settings, all the key value pairs, and then we pass those key value pairs in the Docker Compose files, and after that, and then from the Docker files, we create the Docker image out of that. So we see the Docker image, see here. So how can we do that? We can run the command modes and then to run the applications, and then we see that it is working. So what is we are doing? So that means that is the application we are here. So you see the applications as running. So we can see the commands that we need to be do, like let's see, we can stop the applications. So the Docker mode is application running, and then what can we do? Then creations. So you see the Docker, how is it Docker? You can build a Docker images out of that one. So we need to be very straightforward we can stop the applications and show you how it is done. So we stop the applications, the alter C, and we do them together to run the application. So it's stopping the applications, and then take time. So if we have go to the so it is look like that the image is there. So it's 2 minutes ago created. Then they stop the application, and we need to be checked in the Docker the desktop tools. I found very good tools for the desktop. You can also different way to handle. Maybe you can write down all the commands to manipulate it, to check the application itself. So we see the application is stopped. What we expected. So applications. We stop the applications, then we can clear up, and then we can see the Docker images. So you see the 2 images. So the application images, Postgres images, and also the Docker processes. The process is running. So there is no process is running. So what we need to do, we simply write down the Docker